Hey guys, welcome back to Sabertooth Performance. So in today's video, we are going to change the PCV valve, also known as the positive crankcase ventilation valve. We're going to use some common tools. Most of the time we're going to be using the torque Allen keys. We're going to have some oil, so when we do install the new one, we can just take the oil and rub it a little bit on the gasket. These are rubber gaskets, so they do intend to go really brittle very quick, so the oil is just going to prolong its life a little bit. We're going to be using just some basic gloves to do the work, as well as we just got a cleaning material just to clean up some of the dirt. So before we go ahead and install this beauty over here, I just want to show you guys the two ways that you can identify that this has a problem. So first of all, as you guys can see, this big circle part over here, it's got like a nozzle going on the side. So I want to bring it closer. I hope you guys can see it actually has got like a small hole over there. So how it works is that if it sucks air or it blows air out, then you know either your diaphragm on the inside is shut open or shut closed, and in my case mine is actually sucking air in. So that means I'm getting a bad air to fuel ratio mixture because there's an excess amount of air. This is almost like a vacuum leak, and this is one of the reasons why I have to change it. So for the second way how to identify if your PCV valve has gone bad is to actually get in the car, start it up, come all the way back down here and open your oil cap. So as soon as you do turn it and you lift it up, there will be like a bad suction, then you do know that your PCV valve might be faulty as well. So in this case, I do have got the extra leak air coming out, and we're gonna go and start up the car and see the oil cap as well. So there we go, the car just started, the cold start is done. We're gonna go ahead and remove this cover. We're gonna place it right over here. Then also, as mentioned before, guys, this is gonna be really loud. The car is kind of idling a little bit hard. You guys might not see it on the phone, but here is the nozzle that I've mentioned, and it actually has a whistle. So I'm gonna bring you guys a little bit closer to here, so it might be a little bit loud. Can you guys hear that? Also, when I do hold it in, the engine is almost like it's about to die. So that is the one way you can actually see that your PCV valve is bad. So for the second one, we're gonna open this cap. So when I do open it, do know there's not gonna be a lot of pressure in the engine, so your car might actually stall from this. But let's see. There we go. We open it. Let's lift it up. There we go. Did you guys hear that? That suction air right there, that definitely does tell us that the PCV valve has gone bad. So I'm just backing off so you guys can hear me. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna remove the PCV valve, and I'm gonna show you guys exactly how to do that. So one thing that I recommend to do is always keep the new PCV valve nearby, so then you know exactly which bolts to loosen down, so you don't go and loosen bolts you should not be able to loosen down. So how many does it have? It has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 bolts. Oh my word, this thing has got so much bolts holding it down. So I think let's get started. First thing we gotta do is remove this pipe over here. So it goes from the PCV valve all the way into the intake manifold. So loosening it is actually pretty simple. You're gonna press here on the top and from the back below. So this might be very difficult, especially if it hasn't been removed in a very long time. So you might gonna have to grip it and just wiggle a little bit until it comes out. And perfect. So once the pipe is removed, you can actually just take and slide it all the way to the other side. So instead of going and loosening all the bolts and everywhere, you can have more space now to work by just tilting it to the other side. So we're gonna go ahead and loosen all of these bolts over here. There they are. So yes, also one thing I do want to mention is that as you guys can see here, it does look that it's connected in this area, and this is the area that I'm talking about. So let's quickly take this out. Perfect. So this is how it is now. If we follow it all the way through, as you guys can see, it looks like it is sealed right beneath this coil pack somewhere. There we go. So I'm not pretty sure if we are going to have to end up removing the coil as well, but if we have to, especially to get more space, we'll do that, and I'll show you guys how to as well. So we're going to use a T30 what do you call it, torque Allen key to actually go and remove it. But what I'm going to do to speed things up a little bit is I'm just going to use the small ratchet with an extension with a T30 at the end. So there we go, we finally completed by loosening all the screws, but we still have got 1, 2, 3 screws intact. Honestly, I can't get them out, my fingers are just too big. I can get a long nose pliers to actually go and grab it and take it out. But to be honest with you guys, I even think I'm going to struggle to get this PCV valve out because it is actually stuck in here. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm just going to go loosen this bolt over here, which is also a T30, and I'm just going to plug out all the coil packs and then just move the harness a little bit out of the way to give us more area to work in. Perfect. So now, as you guys can see, all the harnesses are loose to the coil packs. But to be honest, here at the back, there is not a lot of play for it. But at least it is good enough to give us some extra space to get the PCV valve out. So now we're going to go at the other side and start lifting it up. I'm just going to make sure that all the bolts are still in there. So I still got to remove it with the actual PCV valve. So removing the PCV valve might actually be really difficult to remove, as they do intend to actually get stuck a little bit. But do know that this is a very delicate area. You got to make sure once you lift it up that nothing falls inside of the engine. That is really important. You got to stay as clean as possible. If there is leaves or anything on the engine bay, do move it out of the way, trying to clean the area as good as possible. And as you guys can see, that my area is pretty clean. There's no extra leaves or anything in the area. So we can go ahead and actually just remove it. With my luck, obviously I can get up this side over here, but this spot over here is still stuck. So I'm gonna have to go and maybe remove these 2 coil packs just for us to have more access in this area. Once again, do know that you got to keep this area as clean as possible. If you do have actually something to put in there, such as tissues or a cloth, now will be the best time to do it. So all we're going to do is we're just going to take this normal paper towel. I technically just ripped it apart, and we're going to go and put it inside the holes. So once again, you don't have to shove it all the way in. Just make sure that nothing can fall in, and also that you have grip to pull it back out. So that's for the first one. Here is for the second one. Perfect. So we're going to go and try to see if we can get a little bit more access to this part over here. So at this current point, I'm trying to identify what we can actually do. Let me just grab it with this hand to get this part inside out of there. As you guys can see, it goes straight in here into the PCV valve, and actually by following it, I came down a screw over here, which also seems to be a T30. So what I think of doing is actually loosening this bolt, and as you guys can follow through, this pipe over here goes straight into it. So then I can maybe take this entire part, just shift it a little bit backwards so that I can have some area to take out this PCV valve. So let's do it. So perfect. All I did was I just technically pulled it back slightly, and you guys can see the green, where is my thumb? Oh, there's my thumb. So you can see the green O-ring over there, meaning that it is kind of popped out now. So what we can do is we can try to lift this part up. Once again, it might be a little bit stuck, so make sure that if you do try to lift this up, use your other hand to actually pull it back a little bit more to just give you more area to work in. So I just found the biggest problem why I cannot take the PCV valve out. So once again, I've been giving you guys advice, but I did not take it myself. So as you see, your PCV valve is over here. We have been struggling at this part over here. As you guys can see, we can actually like wedge this up a little bit. It is loose, but it is still stuck in this area. So we actually went and popped this part out. But if you do follow it through, there is another bolt over there. Can you guys see it? Let's see if I get this way. Let's see if I can get it further down. I don't know if you guys can see it, but right over there by my finger, there is another bolt holding it down. So as you guys can remember previously, I told you guys to take your PCV valve, actually place it over the one and make sure that you removed all the bolts. Oh my goodness, and I forgot about that bolt over there. So also by loosening the harness, we can actually make some play area to get our Allen key in there. Perfect, so we finally got all the bolts loose. So let's see if this baby can come out now. And look at that, straight away she's loose. So once again, this part over here, as you guys can see, it is still moving. It's still holding it into that gap over there. So I'm gonna need two hands to actually go and pull that bracket away and then take the PCV valve out. And perfect, it is currently removed. So I'm just gonna take this, throw it over here while I show you guys the PCV valve. So also what I'll be doing later in the video, if the new PCV valve is working, I'll actually go ahead and take this diaphragm circle off and see how it looks on the inside. But this is currently how it looks like. It doesn't seem to have any damage of any sort, so that is definitely a good news. So we're just gonna go ahead, put it one side for now. So also, if you want to, you can just go and compare the two just to make sure that they're 100% the same and that they're all good and fine to go. So looking down where the PCV valve sits, this is your camshaft right over here. This is the intake part, making this your intake camshaft, and this one right over there is your exhaust camshaft, which sits on your exhaust side. So we're gonna go and just clean up this entire surface over here. As you guys can see, at this part it's got a bit of oil on, and especially up here it is extremely dirty. I must say that I'm amazed it did not leak out there. I mean, it looks really clean on that side. So that PCV valve actually did a really good job. So we're gonna go ahead, we're going to clean out all the surface area just to make sure that the new PCV valve will sit properly and securely. So as you guys can see, I'm keeping this area closed with the cloth. It was completely exposed, and because we have a field right over there, there can be grass or any sand particles actually blowing this way because it is a pretty windy day and it can actually fall inside of the engine. So what I'll be doing is, while it's closed, I'll be preparing the PCV valve. So as you all can see, the PCV valve actually has got like a rubber gasket, which I prefer. I think the rubber gaskets are the best in this case, because if it is paper, it will intend to actually stick to the housing part over here. So if it does stick, please don't use like a metal scraper or something to try and scrape everything off. Just take a plastic one, because the metal one can actually make small grooves and cuts in these areas, and if you do that, it is definitely going to leak oil. You're going to have oil all over your engine, and that's something you have to avoid. But once again, they came out with a rubber seal. So the rubber seals, they need to be lubricated a little bit before they go in. It can actually damage its lifespan. So you're gonna just take some of basic oil you can find. It doesn't have to be the exact same oil as etc. It's just to actually go and just put a little bit on the gaskets, just to make sure they do live much longer. It also helps it seat a little bit in the engine. So that is what I will be doing now. And perfect. So as you guys can see, this entire gasket I've oiled, and I've done it more than once. I made sure that I kind of got some oil on this side and on the opposite side. So that is really recommended. Do that, guys. It's worth the 5 minutes it takes, or not even 5 minutes, just 1 minute. So we're gonna go and install this part over here. So we're gonna move this quickly out of the way so we can make space over here. So just make sure when you do take it off, just take it off neatly. Make sure you don't drop anything in there. Once again, this is very, very important. So before you actually go and install the new PCV valve in this area, just make sure that there's nothing that actually fallen down into the area. Just make sure that everything is clean, because once it goes in now, it is actually in solidly. So yes, also one thing you can do if you want to, you can take some oil, put it on this area over here. I mean, I think I might do it just for extra precaution, but it is actually a very difficult job to do, because you can actually get some too much oil in here and stuff. As you all know, that your oil must have a minimum and a maximum, but obviously a little bit of oil won't make too much of a difference. It's all about seating, making sure that the new PCV valve can actually seat down and does not actually like struggle to get a spot or makes like a small bubble in the gasket or anything of that sort, that it can compress and find its way down smoothly. So I think I'm gonna go and do that as well, just to make sure that the gasket, sorry, the PCV valve, the gasket of the PCV valve will sit properly and neatly. So I believe of doing something once and doing it right. So as you guys can see, I just put oil all the way around. So also on this O-ring over here, because I did not buy a new part of this, I'm just gonna go and put some oil on this part as well. Just make sure that the oil can kind of restore it a little bit, just give it a little bit more of compression and play area, and also just to slide in smoothly into the new PCV valve. As you guys know that this one is brand new, meaning that this one is gonna go into a dry area. So obviously by having some oil on this side over here as well will definitely make it to go in a little bit easier as well. So now I've done that part over there, I've done this entire part of a little bit of oil. I did not use too much and I'm honestly very happy. So we're gonna go to the final step of installing the new PCV valve. Once again, I just wanna say, because I was busy, make sure nothing fell inside of the engine. Everything seems to be good. Make sure there's nothing, no obstacles loose or anything on this area, because once this go in, you should not take it out. You should try to avoid it as far as possible. Obviously, if you do take it out again, you're gonna have to just maybe apply some oil again, because it might rub off on a few of the pipes or different areas that might be a little bit dirty. And perfect, it is sitting properly. As you guys can also see, I'll try to get an angle for you guys. It can move super easy because we obviously place some oil, so you can get a proper seat of it. Also do make sure that this part is in properly. As you guys can see, you cannot see the green gasket anymore. I just kind of clipped it in, pushed it all the way down. So we are gonna go backwards and install everything. We're gonna first bolt down this one to make sure it's tight in that one. We're gonna get to this difficult screw here at the back, and then we're gonna go and bolt down all the other screws. So maybe also what I will do is maybe I should bolt this one down first, because obviously if you're gonna bolt this one down, it's behind a pipe, so I've got to kind of move it away. So it's gonna obviously give some more play, and this one will be moving around even though it cannot move around too much. But yeah, so we're gonna go ahead and install and bolt down this PCV valve. So currently now all these bolts are just tightened down a little bit. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be tightening them crisscross. For example, I will be tightening this one over here, then I'll be tightening this one over here. Then I'll jump to this one and maybe do that one, and then I'll just jump crisscross just to make sure that I get a proper seating on this PCV valve. So finally the PCV valve is installed. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna pull out these small cloths over here so that we can go and install the coil packs again. So currently all our harnesses are clipped in, they're perfect, we bolted it down, everything is bolted down. I am super happy. So for the last step is swinging this pipe again, pulling it back and just technically push it in until it clips. And great stuff, it is clipped in. But I must mention one thing to you guys is that this part doesn't feel like it's in securely. So if you guys can see, I can actually kind of move it and have play on it. Sorry, there's not a lot of light in this area, so as you guys can see, it has a lot of play, and this is bad internal play because obviously it means that this pipe is not seating properly. So what I will be doing is I will be getting myself one of these new pipes. I mean, getting a new one will be good anyway. So yes, we're gonna go ahead and start her up and see what she's gonna do. Hopefully this is not gonna make too much of a problem. So there we go, the cold start is just done, and as you guys can see, I've got an engine light. So this engine light was here, it was just technically saying that my engine was running too lean, meaning that there was too much air and too little fuel. As you guys can remember, the PCV valve was sucking a lot of air. So we're gonna go ahead, we're gonna go to the front, we're gonna do the two tests again. We're gonna see if that little vent was actually sucking. We're also gonna remove the oil cap and see if there's actually that sucking noise. So let's go see how it is. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. Already by just looking at her, she is idling so much better. I mean, this is beautiful. The engine is not even shaking like before. I know on the camera it can be very difficult to see things like that mostly. You're just gonna have to take my word. She is idling so smooth. So we're gonna go ahead and put our finger on this point. There is nothing. Even if I hold it in, the engine is not stalling like before. Oh my word, this is perfect. So we're gonna go over to the oil cap now. Remember, once we remove it and we lift it up, it's gonna make a sucking noise. But I want you guys to know that this car has still got a small vacuum leak. The vacuum leak is here at the back by the vacuum pump. So also we might have this, so it might still have a little bit of suction. Technically what happened here at the back, I don't know if you guys will be able to see, but this part over here is my vacuum pump. As you guys can see, it's got a lot of oil on it, and even every now and then it actually drips oil onto my downpipe, which is here. Don't know if you guys can see, and it's got like an oil splat over there. So I hope you guys heard me. So it might still have a small suction because it has a leak at the back that I will have to fix on a different video, but let's listen to it. Oh my goodness, that had almost no suction. That is so much better. I'm really happy to see that. Also, remember, I do have that problem at the back, so there was a small, but that was not too bad. I'm super happy. The engine is hardly shaking. I can't wait to go and take her for a test drive. To go ahead and diagnostic the engine light, we're just going to use this normal ELM327 Interface Sports OBD port. So technically, you're just going to plug it all the way back in here. So once your diagnostic tool is in, you're gonna go and turn on your ignition. Once again, do not go and start your car or howsoever. This is the automatic, the DSG gearbox. So for me to start my car, I'll actually have to put my foot on the brake. But as you guys can see, my feet are completely off. They're right here below the couch. I'm just gonna go and press the button in. As you guys can see, the ignition came on, and that is perfect. That is exactly what you want. So we are going to go into our Torque app, and no, we don't want GPS to activate. As you can see, that's already connected to the OBD port and just connected to the car. So as you all can see, we have got our engine light up there. Don't worry, once you start, the EPC will go off. That is technically me not wearing my safety belt at this moment, and that is my parking brake. This one over here is obviously for my sensor behind the mirror that is actually not picking up. Maybe it's just disconnected or something. But we're going to go and say find faults. So we're going to tap to search, and it's going to go quickly and do the search for it. So there we go, the scan is just complete, and as I told you guys, system 2 lean at idle bank 1, P2187. So this is the code that I've been getting. So now obviously if you're going to drive your car without resetting it, once it does find the fuel to air mixture to being fine, it will automatically be removed. Your engine light will disappear. But because I have got my diagnostic tool, I'm going to go straight away and just clear it. So clear faults on ECU. We're gonna say okay. So there we go, it is sending clear, it's doing the percentages. So once it's done, my engine light will be off, and that means I've done something good. So perfect, the code is off, but the alarm is still there. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna start the car now. Good start, perfect, smooth. Oh my word, I've never felt this car idle so smooth. So as you guys can see, currently now we only have got our safety belt. Over here is our parking brake, so, and then also our EPC is off and our engine light. I mean, how cool is that, guys? This car is idling so smooth. Maybe I can place it down for you guys. The little bit of shaking you guys saw there was probably me. The car is hardly shaking. I am so super happy. So there we go, guys. That is how you do your PCV valve, and obviously diagnosing it with your diagnostic tool. Before I end the video, I just want to highlight this part over here. As you guys can see, maybe if I can get a good grip on it, you guys can see it's actually completely loose. It does not have a good grip. So as I mentioned before, I am going to go and purchase myself a new pipe. Obviously, to take it out is just to clip down here, pull it out, clip down here and pull it out exactly like I did before. But just out of curiosity, I just want to show you guys, if you guys are interested to see if it does actually have got a small leak in there, you can just go take this cloth, put it in underneath and try to secure the area as good as possible. Something similar to this. So what I will be doing is I'm going to use carburetor cleaner. Carburetor cleaners are very good because they do intend to have some extra flammable fuel in, meaning that if you do actually spray it on this area over here, what will happen is if it does suck in, your engine's RPM is actually going to climb up. Please do remember that the intake manifold, this one over here, let me just put this down. there we go, that this one here will be sucking the air into the intake manifold so it can go down into the pistons. So if you do spray it here and all of a sudden your engine RPMs goes up by itself, don't worry, it won't go up too much, maybe just from 700 to maybe 1,000 maybe if you're lucky. So yeah, you will just be listening to any kind of vibration or noise, just showing that the RPMs is actually going up because you're allowing more fuel to go in. Also, the good thing about carburetor cleaner is it will technically just clean out the surface area. So make sure when you do spray, please don't spray your entire engine, just spray this sealing part over here. As you guys can see where it moves, so I'll be spraying it just on this edge right over here. So it will be kind of a quick and simple thing to do. So first of all, we got to start our car again. So here we go, the moment of truth. The engine did not go up. I'm spraying more. Still, the engine is not going up properly. So what I can do is I can actually move it out of position. Already by looking to it, the actual pipe is being sucked back in. So I'm going to move it. As you guys can see, every time when I actually go and move it a little bit out of the way, it gets sucked back in. So that means that pipe might work, but I will go and buy a replacement pipe anyway. Having more pipes, obviously having your car reliable and not knowing that you've got a small leak problem there every time will always be a good thing to do. So because the new part is working and I'm super happy with it, we're gonna go and open this part over here. Maybe by opening it, we can see the inside and understand this part more. And I think you guys want to see this as well. So technically to open it up doesn't seem to be too difficult. It just looks like it's got these clips all around. So you're gonna have to take a flat screwdriver and technically just open it up. As you guys can see, there's more over there. And honestly, can we get there? There is another one over there. So honestly, it goes around all the way. So also, I can imagine you guys are excited to see it. Here is once again the vent that I've been telling you guys about earlier. So once we remove it, we'll maybe understand why it was sucking air in there. So with the help of a bunch of flatheads, we finally got this top part off. So just to let you know that if you do try to take this thing ever off, do know you are going to damage the clips most likely. Also, do wear some gloves. I mean, this was actually really oily, more oily than I thought. But first of all, we can see it's operated by a spring. So if we do take it off, there is your spring on the inside. So as you guys can see that there is a little bit of oil in here, but it's really not that bad. I do see a few loose parts over here, which is technically could have been because we actually damaged this entire thing by taking it off. So here is the bottom, here is the diaphragm everyone was talking about. So somewhere this thing actually cracked. Oh my word. I don't know if you guys can see that. Look at that. So I just put a flashlight on. Do you guys see that? Right over there. Let's see if I can put it down and actually grab one of these screwdrivers. I mean, look at that. It is completely cracked. Even if I go this way, inside there as well. I mean, it is cracked all the way around. That's like not even any jokes. No wonder it was so bad. So as you guys can see, most of the part over here, it is okay. But as soon as you go over here, it's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cracks. That is crazy. So no wonder it was actually sucking air. Where is that part? Here is the part. No wonder it was sucking air in there because it had a lot of cracks here. So obviously the suction of the entire intake manifold and etc. was sucking the air in from between these diaphragms. And I can imagine that can lead to a lot of damage for your engine, especially because there's no air filter or anything in this area, meaning that if there's sand or dust or anything and gets in here, it might end up in your engine. So obviously it will go down here, it will follow its way and most likely come out of this part over here or this part over here. So once again, I'm very happy I cleaned this out. Now that I do understand this better and you guys as well, now we do know why it was sucking air. So there we go. That is how you change a PCV valve, positive crankcase ventilation valve, on an Audi A4. So also do know that the Golf GTIs and a few other models also has got a very similar engine, so the installation will be similar. So if you guys did enjoy this video, please do drop a big like. If you guys are new, hit that subscribe button now, and I'll see all of you legends in my next video. But for now, cheers everyone.